Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 67 of Be With Me. We're in the book of Acts, and today's lesson and thought drops on New Year's Day. So welcome to 2022 for those who are listening in real time. And I appreciate you listening in the new year. And this is a day when many times we are thinking about our habits and our disciplines and our people. We have a little more time to reflect. And so during this moment, I would like to charge you to listen and keep listening, and not to me per se, but really to the Lord. Lord willing, 365 days from now, on January 1st, 2023, with the Lord's mercy and the Lord's faithfulness, wouldn't it be great to look back at this year and have this year to be a year of spiritual productivity? I'm thinking of the verse today as a year anniversary verse, Lamentations 3:22. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore, I will hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks them. So, wouldn't it be great if the Lord shows up for our 365 days of 2022? The goal of this podcast is that the Lord would show up and that your podcaster would be invisible. And shoot ahead. Where would you like to be in a year from now? What would you like to have made of his word? How about his people? What part of his people would they play in your life? Wouldn't you like to look back at this coming year and have had seen the steadfast love of the Lord, and looking back, seeing his mercies and the newness of his word every morning? Wouldn't you like 2022 to be known for the greatness of his faithfulness, or whatever year you listen to this podcast? Maybe your answer today is yes. How can I get there? I think of two things I would charge you with. Number one would be his word, and number two would be his people. So specifically with regards to his word, what strategy or discipline would you use? Perhaps listening to the podcast or reading along and considering the typically one big thought of the day of this particular podcast. And if you are a listener and maybe have been a listener, then here might be a charge for you, is to listen better, to listen more carefully, listen well, and seek him and wait for him. Read the scripture with me. Consider the launching pads of these thoughts. That's the idea behind this relatively short podcast. All right, and I would love for you, secondly, to experience his goodness amidst a people who are seeking his goodness. So we're all asking the question, is kind of these big questions. Who is my God? And if you haven't met him, well, let's get busy on that. And if you have met him, then let's seek him diligently and follow him and enjoy. This is not work and drudgery. He is to be enjoyed. Why? Because what is he like? Well, come along with me, read and listen and devote yourselves devotionally to him, and let's find out together. And then, in more so than just a virtual way, how about his people? I keep thinking about the story keeps coming back to me here recently of Martin Lloyd-Jones. And Martin Lloyd-Jones was wrestling with God. And let me just read from his biography of him. His desperate search reached its zenith one night when he, his wife, and another couple went to the theater. The play was over. The four of them exited the theater and walked out into the bright lights of the busy square. There, Lloyd-Jones observed the Salvation Army band playing hymns and giving a gospel witness. In other words, he ran into the dorks of the Salvation Army. They were probably dorky then. They're still dorky now. And ladies and gentlemen, they are my brothers and sisters. So listen what happens to him. I'm back to the reading now. He was immediately struck by their strong convictions in the Lord. As he witnessed this little ministry team proclaiming the message of salvation, he concluded that in that decisive moment, these are my people. In the pivotal event, he crossed the line and answers God's call upon his life to preach. And reflecting on this, he summarized it this way, quote, I have never forgotten it. There's a theme in Wagner's opera, Tannenhauser, the two poles, the pull of the world and the pull of the pilgrims, the people of God, and the contrast between the two. I have very often thought of it. I know exactly what it means. I suppose I enjoyed the play. When I heard this band and the hymns, I said, these are my people. These are the people I belong to, and I am going to belong to them. I just love that quote. And here's how it applies to Acts. Yesterday we introduced a man named Cornelius. Cornelius, Gentile soldier of a different culture, of a different religion, but yet God-fearing. And then tomorrow we'll get to Peter, where Peter has a vision. God, actually, the Lord gives them both a vision. And these two unlikely characters are going to crash together, are going to collide together, and they're each going to say, Cornelius is going to say, and Peter is going to say at the end of it, these are my people. These are the people I belong to, and I am going to belong to them. So for 2022, I charge you, listen and listen well. I would be honored if I could walk with you through the book of Acts and what other book the Lord would have for us. In the meantime, be ready, be readying, and do it with the people of God. Thank you for listening. I look forward to being with you for 2022.